Find it. Yeah, you look slimmer without a
I
beard.
do, don't I?
Yeah.
Playing hard, playing tough, just plain good is not good enough. We're gonna show you what league's all about. If there's a lesson to be learned, we're handing it out. This game is our game. This town is our town. Turn the heel and listen to the crowd.
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here as always with my co-host Liam McNeil. Liam, how are you tonight?
Nagy, I'm good. I'm slightly disappointed, but good. There was, a lot of good came out of the weekend.
Obviously, the weekend being the loss to the Roosters, 18-16 there on Saturday night at McDonald Jones Stadium.
Wasn't she tight?
Now, Liam, you were at the game. How was the atmosphere getting around there?
Atmosphere was good. Look, we decent crowd. It was an icy cold night. The rain had eased up, but 18,000 and
Something.
70 odd, I believe,
Yeah.
which is a great crowd. Good to see the Novocastrians turning out in force as usual. So it was a good evening. There was lots of oohs, there was lots of ahs. People leaving a bit disappointed, but a lot of good support behind the boys. There was not many dropped heads. No Knights fans leaving early. Everyone stuck around right till the end. So
Well, it came down to the wire in the end.
oh, came right down to the wire.
And considering this was a team that flogged us down in Sydney 10 weeks ago at the game that we did the Joust tour down to Sydney.
So we're the bad luck charm.
We're the bad luck charm. Well, you shouldn't have gone.
Should never attend a game again.
But we lost that game by 30 and this one by 2. And I don't think this game was ever, more than 6 points away from us. So it was a very, very good game to watch.
Now, my maths isn't great, but Nagy, that's a 28-point, not a turnaround because we didn't win,
Yeah.
but 28-point reduction in how bad we are.
We reduced.
We reduced.
Funnily enough, reduced is our word of the week.
Oh,
week.
word of the week, reduced.
Thank you for everyone playing at home.
Thank you.
Liam, we're going to jump straight in for your hats off this week.
Look, my hats off this week was someone who we've had for hats on a few times this year. The last 2 weeks, he's really improved, shown what he can do, what he's capable of. That man, Mr. Sione Matautia.
Former
well
captain.
done.
Yeah.
Former captain, 22 years old. He's really starting to show what he can do as a power centre. He's really, I think Brownie's finally worked out how to use Sione. We saw it last week with that hard-running try. We saw it this week again, another just hard-running, straight-line try. That beautiful line he ran to set up Ponga's try. He had a try assist. He made 6 tackle busts. I think it's the first time this year Ponga hasn't led the tackle bus for the team, which is very impressive to knock our very own
The
Pong off the top of the tackle bus list, and 27 tackles for only 1 miss, tackling at a 97% effectiveness rate. Now, as usual, all our stats this week brought to us by our very own Hebrew Hammer, Josh Spiegelman.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Hammer. 27 tackles, you mentioned that from a centre, is a huge effort to also be scoring tries and setting up other tries. So he was heavily involved in the play. Saw a lot of traffic down his way. I think they identified both our centres as him and Corey Dennis to be the ones to make that error in defence. But they really, Corey Dennis missed some tackles. But I thought both of them showed plenty of starch. We were gang tackling them. We were bullying them, and we made them having to really work for their tries. I don't think there was really a try off a set play.
No, there was a try. There was one try off a set play. Ferguson second off the scrum, but you've got the Latrell try, freakish ability from a freakish football player, backing up from Origin, and then Ferguson's other try.
Yeah.
Sucked. It was really annoying.
Well, that was a bit of a step. Yeah, running straight through, and that other one down the blind. But there wasn't any sort of sweeping movements that found us short on the sides, and I think that's what we're getting used to being scored against. There was no that they're building pressure, and we crack because we didn't really crack as in the middle section. It was hard to. The tries were disappointing, but you could feel them coming. And you knew a Roosters side like that, they were going to find a way to break through a side with so many small players in it. Looking at our line, if you look at the halves, Cogger and that other one, Watson.
The little man.
The little men, but tiny, and then you get Danny Levi in there as well. And you look across our line, and it's just sort of peppered in with these little guys that you sort of got to look out for. And you look at their pack, and they're all huge. Their wingers are like Fords. The only little guy they got is Kiri.
That's it.
And that's about it. Kronk's Kronk's never been a speed bump in defence. He's really solid.
Speaking of the little men, Nagy, a little birdie told me that you might have a hats off as well.
I do have a hats off for this week.
Who you got?
Well, I can't get past Slade Griffin, the man with a fantastic name.
Wasn't he incredible?
He just grew. He grew. I don't know. He grew something. Was it an extra? Was it a third leg?
No, you already had that one.
He was just defending like he was right in the middle. Like, how many tackles did he got any there?
He did. He made 42 tackles
42.
for only one miss.
One miss, and obviously, but there's that try saver and Isaac Liu.
Which, yes, Isaac Liu, I think we've got the footage for that one right here, which we'll be putting up.
Yeah.
But the way you see it, there's a few offloads, and at any point, the middle players could give up on that play, so it's gone to the sideline, offload, blah, blah, my job's done. But no, Slade comes across and absolutely levels Liu, forces the error, and that kind of summed up for me how well our goal line defence worked throughout the night, because any way you look at it, the goal line defence was excellent. We had Connor Watson stopping Latrell Mitchell one-on-one. We had Jack Cogger stopping some other big bloke, like you said, one-on-one. And then for Slade to come in and make an effort like that, you could see the boys get around him. It was as if he'd scored a try himself.
It was and it was just as good as. There were several times where the Roosters got over our line, but there was just 2 and 3 bodies under there, like really desperately holding out. It was like a semi-finals game for the Knights, and we, if anything, we were too patient. Excuse me, we were patient enough. The Roosters were just sort of playing, game managing, as you mentioned to me earlier, with Cooper Cronk just sort of playing it out. They wanted that game to end at about 60, 67 minutes, because we were, in defence, we made it really hard for them to work. You could tell that, like, both teams were just buggered. But we, in the back end, when we really needed to put the foot down, we probably just didn't have anything left in the tank.
Which is a shame. But again, that comes from being a young side, still relatively inexperienced, except for Chris Hyington. Good little stat here. He, on the weekend, entered the top 10 of games most played in the rugby league. Passing Andrew Eddinghausen.
300 and something?
Oh, it's about 1,000.
It's up there.
I couldn't tell you to be sure.
He probably could make 1,000 the way he's going.
Also, at his age and the amount of games he's played, I thought his impact off the bench was brilliant. He had, I think, only 30 minutes, but pumped out 97 metres. Yeah. Really good work in attack. He was brilliant.
He was really good. He's really surprised me this year. For a bloke of his age, I thought he would just be there, and maybe I thought he's going to play like an Anthony Tupou sort of a role, to sort of come in, come out.
Forgot about Anthony Tupou.
Yeah,
stint at the Knights.
Only 4 games with us at the back end of his career, so I thought it was going to be something like that. But he's been, he's probably been our strongest and most consistent bench player. He's probably pushing for a starting side. Chris Hing, you could probably start him, and he looked just at home there. But it was one of those games that we, it came right down. We got that late try with how long to go? 6 minutes or something like that.
Mere seconds.
3 minutes maybe. We got a few goes with them, but I think all came down to. I heard a lot of people saying through the week that it was like we should have had that last big play, but we tried everything. We were trying lots of stuff right through the middle of the game. Nothing was really coming out. We could probably backed ourselves a little bit more instead of going for the chip to the wingers, but I thought they just played out of the skin. I found it really hard to give a hats back on this week.
So did I. I really struggled with this. I have got one, Nagy.
Yeah,
I'm not proud of this. I've got one, but Corey Dennis.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is only his second first grade game of the season.
Yeah.
His only first grade games were a few years ago when he was thrown in to the Wolves, essentially, as a child. He was picked straight from the crib, given the jersey by Brownie, and said, "Do your best, son."
Get in there.
And since he's come back, he's been solid. But I thought defensively he showed a few weaknesses like Saturday night. 4 missed tackles. He had 1 ineffective tackle for a 72% tackle effectiveness rate. Yeah. And he did miss the tackle for Ferguson to go over off that scrum, which was... The move was telegraphed. They had the entire back line on that side. Blake Ferguson had come off his wing on the blind. The ball was only ever going to Blake Ferguson. It was never going anywhere else.
Yeah.
And yet, Dennis copped the palm, still fell off the tackle. Besides that, I thought he was pretty strong, and he's showing some form that he could be a very good, solid centre. Yeah. Nothing spectacular, but solid. But, I just thought maybe the occasion might have got to him. Or maybe it was because the rest of the team was defending so well that he didn't defend particularly badly, and yet the mistakes he did make in defence showed up a bit more. They were a bit more visible.
If we won that game, we look back at Corey Dennis, we say, he's great. Keep him in the side. If only when you're looking for problems do you find him. But
exactly, which is why I'm not proud of that. I don't like it.
I couldn't really give it to anyone, to be honest. I thought everyone had moments. I thought SKD and Kenny both had moments where they shut down plays, which could have led to tries, or SKD got the intercept. It was like a slow intercept, but it was like an intercept, and he didn't run away with it, but he just secured it. We made the right decisions at the right times. I thought Cogger, right through the game, his short kicking game was very good. Some grubbers were just very well timed. Repeat sets. We built some pressure. Interesting going for the 2. Did you think that was interesting going for the 2 when we were 8 points behind?
I did. I thought it was... I was a bit surprised.
Yeah,
because again, we'd finally got down into their end. We played so much football out of our own end that we finally get down into their own end, down into their end. I thought maybe put the pedal put the pedal down, have a bit of an attack. But again, working out of our own end so much, the boys would have been buggered. So I can understand going for the 2. I just think at that point they were just blowing. Wouldn't have had enough in attack to crack the Roosters line.
Yeah.
Because the Roosters' goal line defence has been, over the last few years, been arguably the best in the competition. And so you've really got to be at your best attacking that line. And so after working so hard, coming out of our own end, you get down there, you got points on offer, take them. Take them, absolutely.
One thing I did like, even though it was, I think it was a Ponga call to take the 2, it probably came from the box, but Ponga kicking well as well.
That's it. We noticed the last 2 weeks he's changed his kicking style, and we know Pong came from a golfing background, and in golf, it's all about your swing. You've got to get it exactly right, and if you're not doing it right, forget it. Scrap it, start again. He's got an entirely new kicking style, a new, I guess, preparation.
Yeah, the new walk-in.
New walk-in,
yeah.
And it seems to be paying massive dividends. He kicked 5 from 6 previously against the Parramatta Eels, and then I don't think he missed one.
I don't think he missed one either. I think it was 2 tries and a penalty goal.
But that just shows, what a mature player he is. That's
2 penalty goals.
He's a young player. But they've, spotted a weakness in his game, and he said, you know what, I'm going away, I'm going to change it entirely, work on it, and fix it. And so that just shows what he could do.
And just to bring up a second point about the Pong, is the Pong ankle breaker that he put on our very own New South Wales Blues, James Tedesco.
How pongstrong was that?
We've got some footage of it that will pop up here. If you just watch it, obviously Teddy dribbles it in and goes to regather. Ponga picks it up and just what you called it. He does a bit of a scissor step.
You know what he did? It reminded me of a step that I have burned into my memory. It was Quade Cooper against the All Blacks, I believe, 2010. What he does is he takes a step, goes to take the second step, but the foot doesn't touch the ground, so it doesn't propel him forward. He's not in motion, and then he can switch immediately. It's quite something. Yeah. I've only ever seen Quade Cooper pull it off at his peak.
Yeah.
And for Ponga to be able to do that against the reigning New South Wales fullback, it was incredible. And a sign of things to come. It's quite obvious that for the next decade, those two are going to be the State of Origin fullbacks. So it was an exciting thing to see and a real sign of things to come.
Now, we've got a little bit more Knights news and State of Origin news coming up. We're going to take a halftime break and check out this.
What went right?
Huh?
What went right?
Oh, we'll discuss this on the second half, Liam. But there's a little bit that went right. But check out what happened on State of Origin, big Origin takeover of Central Bar. Things got a bit wild, so we've got some footage of it here. We'll be right back.
Still recovering.
All right, Jousters, we've just confirmed the first game of the series win. I'm here with Joust alumni Nick Milligan and Nick Bilby as well. Keen Jouster. Boys, I have to ask you, how about that game?
Strong win.
We out-enthused them, which I hoped we would do. The youth on the park shine through.
Did you have any much? Nick, it was so much happening in that game. It was so close for so long. Obviously coming away with a 10-point victory. A couple of tries disallowed. But, it felt like we could have won by much more. How do you feel like we're going into game 2?
Well, once James Maloney worked out that he was supposed to pass it to the blokes in the blue shirts, everything fell into place.
I think it's really up to us to come out with the same enthusiasm next game. We really ripped in. We were really all over them for the game. I mean, one of those tries was an intercept try. It was a gift. But the mentality in the second game will be very interesting to see.
I can't wait to see it. We're going to be right back here for game 2 for the Old Boys supported Mark Hughes Foundation round. Thank you very much, Joust. We're here with Harry, and Harry, after a miraculous game 1 win. How are your thoughts on the game, boys?
I just ecstatic. I just cannot believe what just happened. I am baffled, and this is what should have happened 8 years ago.
We got Harry beside himself. That's Harry number 1. Harry number 2.
I was nervous when the Maroons started coming back. They showed a bit of ferocity, but I'm glad we managed to hold them off and get a couple at the end. That was good.
How do you think we're going to go game 2, boys?
Exactly the same thing. Exactly. Hopefully, it'd be like, I don't want to cause drama, but it'd be nice if, we lost and then having a nice, good game 3 because, I bought tickets to that game because...
And Harry 2, how do you think we're going to game 2?
I agree with Harry 1, but I'd like to rub him into the dirt game 3, but game 2 is going to be much of a muchness. We're going to put him away. It's just going to be too easy once again. I mean, Greg Inglis, there's nothing to him. He's soft, honestly.
We got the two Harrys here ready for game 2 loss, hopefully for a 3-match series. Something else. Jimmy Connors, keen jouster here. I've got to ask you, after such a miraculous win, what are your thoughts on the game?
Mate, Origin's dead. One game in, they can't beat us. It's dead. It's over. Lock it up, pack it up, we're going home.
1-game series from here. Well, what do you think for game 2?
I'm hoping Queensland wins it because I won't be here to watch it, so I really want a nice game 3. So Queensland can win by like 1 point. Hopefully Inglis breaks a femur or something. That'd be great.
Some hopeful wins, some hopeful losses, and some hopeful breaks. That's something else we got here.
Thanks for having us, boys.
Lenny, what a stirring win from the New South Wales Blues, mate. It was like you've never seen a win quite like it before, have you?
I'm all antsy in my pantsies. I mean, that was great, wasn't it? Oh.
Aren't we all antsy in our pantsies, ladies and gentlemen? But it's a win that, you know, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. There's 2 games remaining.
Optimism was well worth it, wasn't it?
How good's the optimism feel, Lenny? How about the optimism?
That's great, isn't it? It's good stuff.
So we got 2 games ahead of us in this year's series, but let's just talk about the optimism.
I mean, 2 games, it's nothing in the wake of what we've done already.
Yeah, 2 games ain't nothing. It's a piece of piss. Fuck you, Queensland. Eat a dick. Return mail to Liam at fucking 29 Roy Avenue, Bolton Point. You ain't shit.
Burping the microphone.
Little tiny one.
Okay. Welcome right back to the second half of the Joust. Wasn't that a fun night at Origin? Can you remember much of it, Liam?
I was about to say, I don't recall if it was a fun evening or not, but apparently, from all accounts, it was. It was a great evening.
Obviously, we got the win. But before we jump straight into Origin, Liam, we copped an injury to the co-captain, Jamie Burrah.
We did. That's it. The injury train continues, and it's all stations to bloody Marathon Stadium. James Burrah, our fearless co-captain, out for the season with an ACL.
Yeah.
Also, the previous week, Daniel Safiti's done some foot ligament damage. He's looking like being out for 6 weeks. And you look at the injury list, and it's quite horrifying.
We were talking on the way here, Liam, about how many games worth of experience that is missing from this side.
That's a lot.
And it's we counted rough count about 600 first grade games.
Thereabouts. You've got your Pierce, your Burrah. There's 250 and 150. I think Moga's got about 100. The Safitis each would have about 50. Ross got 50 as well.
Yeah,
it's a lot of rugby league experience sitting on the sideline.
It was an interesting stat. The most capped person out. No, so the most capped knight out there at the moment. Last game was Siona Matautia. With 80 something.
Wow!
All the other games for the Knights players was much lower, and it makes sense when you look at it because they're either new or they're like freshly from other teams or freshly from the womb.
It's very much a new side, missing some key elements.
But obviously the experience really stood up. But how do you see the side reshuffling? Do you think with the Burrah no longer there? Do you think Danny Levi that cements his spot in the side?
I think that definitely cements Levi's spot. I think that cements Yates' spot on the bench. So I think they'll kind of be the 2 changes. I think Lillyman will get much more time now as well. But yeah, it's a toughie.
Strange. Lillyman came on late again.
He did. It was an odd.
I don't know how they're doing the rotation. Maybe the Jamie Burrah one forced Heinton on earlier, and that would have been the... I don't know.
That's for the smart men, Nagy.
That's for the numbers guys.
Numbersmen.
We're not really numbersmen or wordsmen.
No, I'll tell you one number I do know, though, Nagy. 3.5 frowning brownies to Newcastle's injury curse.
Yeah, I know, 3.5. Look, and that's quite high for the...
it's not low.
No, on the brownie...
It's a lot of frowns.
On the scale there. It's up there. But speaking about being up there, Liam, one up in the series for our very own New South Wales Blues. Obviously, we're there. Sorry, you look like you're...
What a stirring performance. Wasn't it incredible? Nagy, I've got so much to say about this game because it was just glorious to watch.
Well,
now,
it sounds like it's breaking, so we better bring it for the news.
The news.
Yes, Liam, it was a remarkable game. I wish I could remember the back end of it because, like you, I was celebrating quite hard. Thank you to everyone that came along to that fantastic night we had down at Central Bar. But, Liam, hit us with what you feel.
Now, what I saw from this side is something I haven't seen from a Blue side in a long, long time. A well-coached side. Now, what I saw was you had 17 players who knew their role, they knew what they had to do, and were told not to adjust. One thing I heard Phil Gould say a number of times throughout the commentary was that Queensland are hitting very, very hard. They're smacking New South Wales around. New South Wales need to do that. And in the past, I think New South Wales would have done that. They would have tried to adjust to Queensland's game plan. But what this side did was took a step back.
Yeah.
Said, no, we're going to play our game. Freddie's told me what to do. Freddie's told us what to do. We're doing that instead. And it worked a treat. I think the biggest one for me was watching RCG and David Clemmer, two, enormous, fiery, angry men. RCG came out and said he was going to kill someone.
Yep.
I expected them to go absolutely bananas on the Queensland forward pack, and that just gets sucked into that classic Queensland grind.
Yeah.
But instead what they did was Queensland would send numbers out of the line. They'd put on a bit of footwork, get around, make extra yards. So they weren't doing the real aggressive, straight up into the chest of Queensland that I thought. What they were doing was actually quite a bit smarter. They were wearing the Queensland forwards out, channeling that aggression and then using it wisely. And then going nuts when RCG ragdolled whoever it was to find the error. What I saw, it was just a well-coached side.
Yeah.
Seems like Freddie's got some real belief in that team. Every player knew their role. Every player knew exactly what they had to do. And the other case for me was Nathan Cleary. Came out of the game, a lot of people saying, Cleary didn't do too much. Cleary maybe should have done more. No, he did exactly what he had to. Brad Fittler came out early in the week and said, look, all Nathan's got to do is make his tackles, have a couple of runs, get his kicks right. That's it. I'm not throwing him in. I'm not saying go out and win us the game. I'm saying just do what you got to do, the basics to get you into the game, and he did it, and he did it very well. I just love what Freddie's doing. Absolutely adore it.
Was there a standout for you for the game, Liam? Maybe
too many.
I know. Well, could you go past Teddy?
I couldn't go past him. However, a close second, a whisker close second was Damien Cook. He was an absolute revelation.
Dane Cook, I called him on the night behind the microphone. The comedian Dane Cook.
The story man.
The story man.
Yeah.
You see, what happened was that was at half-time when we got up again to talk about, the game. And I sort of forgot that we were getting back up at half-time. And then, I once we did the first bit, I got quite pissed. And then I forgot everything. I forgot everything, where I was while I was there. But then I sort of came to, and then you got quite pissed towards the end of the game.
Yes.
So we sort of traded the...
we evened out.
Yeah. That's why we're together.
But I almost said Damien Cook.
Yeah.
No, I did say Damien Cook. Damien Cook was incredible. He his running game's been one of his real strengths, but what he showed against Queensland was he knows when to pick it. He's lightning quick. He can tear it up through the ruck, but other hookers tend to overplay their hand. They'll take too many runs. They won't find the gaps. I don't think he had a single scoot where he didn't find the gap. His service was crisp. His defense was excellent. 53 tackles. And for a hooker... what's his name? Buzz Rothfield said this on 360.
Can you do Buzz?
He ran for 51 metres, which in Origin for a hooker, that's quite something. And Buzz was right. In Origin, hookers tend not to run quite so much.
No, he ran like 81 metres.
But 81 even better.
Yeah.
Anyway, he ran for a lot of metres. But to see him play like that is the classic case of a player not only playing themselves into form, but continuing that form through Origin. I thought Tommy Turbo was excellent as well. He got absolutely belted a number of times, but he just got up, kept doing the work, busted his ass, and was rewarded with a try.
After watching so many games with the players like the Aaron Woods and the Blake Fergusons and the and that other fellow that plays for
Joshua Dugan.
Joshua Dugan, yeah. All these players that were just sort of staples in that side for quite some time, and you think, starting to watch that game when it kicks off, he's sort of looking, going, I don't really know this side. I don't know what to expect. But gee, they made us forget about that previous side pretty quickly. You're watching, you're like, I love what they're doing because it's exciting football. Game ones can often be such a grind. You often saw those like 8-8, come in the last looking for a field goal. And the field goal is the most exciting part of the game. But there was lots of excitement from that game. It felt like something else. It felt like possibly a game too.
It was incredible. And not only that, I think what we can really take solace out of is that Queensland scored a try off an intercept and a kick.
Yeah.
They didn't break the defensive line. They got a few little half breaks, a few little, poke the nose through. GI got through a few times, but every time they were on him. I think the greatest example was Greg Inglis taking it down the left-hand side, Bahams off Roberts. Roberts was there straight away underneath him to make the tackle. I thought the centres really stood up. James Roberts, Latrell Mitchell.
Yeah, no, I thought they both had really strong games, considering that was, where they thought there was going to be defensive problems, especially lining up against Inglis. But yeah, Roberts did a good job.
He missed a few, but he made up for it every time. Every tackle he missed, he was there for the second effort, finishing it off. I thought he was great.
Now, looking forward to game 2, Liam.
New South Wales by 100.
which will be down in Sydney. But we'll be watching it at the Central Bar once again for the Mark Hughes Foundation Origin special.
Knights Old Boys, once a night.
Once a night, yeah. We got Mark Hughes and Adam Muir and
Brett Mullins.
And Brett Mullins and Ben Cross will all be there, guest speaking. And we'll be hosting as well. So please jump onto the Central Bar's Facebook page for ticket information for that one. It should be an absolute cracker. But
Where are you going after that, Nagy?
I will be going to the Commonwealth Hotel.
Going to the Commonwealth Hotel, as will I.
It's the only place to be after Origin. I didn't quite make it there the first game because I wouldn't have been allowed in because it's such a responsible, lovely venue. But I will be going there tonight for some dinner.
Yes.
So, but Liam, it was. How do you see? Like, obviously, it really puts everything on this game 2 in Sydney, because if we lose that, I don't care if you put 13 random blokes from a bus stop in maroon that are from Queensland in game 3, we cannot beat them at a game of football. You can't do it. You can have athletes against bums. It won't work. You can't have game 3 in Brisbane and then expect to win the series. So everything is on this for me. Am I incorrect, would you say?
You do raise a very good point. Previously, I would have agreed, but there's something about this New South Wales side that makes me think differently. I would much rather have it wrapped up in 2. I think with 80,000 Blues fans behind us down there, even with Billy Slater coming back, I think it'll be closer. But I still think the Blues they've just got it. There's something about this team. They've got it. It's going to be tight. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be brutal. It's violent. It's going to be everything we love. But I still think New South Wales in front of 80,000. Few people are saying unbeatable. And I said, shut up. You never say that in Origin. The second you say that in Origin is the second we lost. We lose the series.
Can I remind you from this time last year? We had this conversation. We put 29 points on them game 1, and we're talking about this is going to be the side, and we have so much depth, and and then they've had to change their side, and we're rubbing our hands together, and then they proverbially pulled our pants down in Sydney. And gave us a slap in the bottom. And then we went up to Brisbane thinking that we were half a chance, and they absolutely turned the table.
Now, Nagy, I'm glad you brought that up, because therein lies the difference this year. The team that Queensland picked in the first game of last year had a lot of improvement with the changes that were made for game 2.
Yeah.
This team this year doesn't have a much higher ceiling. I feel like Queensland played very well. The return of Billy Slater will improve the team a bit, but I don't think they've got as much improvement in them as they did last year, whereas the Blues have a lot more improvement. They've got much more young players who arguably didn't hit their ceiling, and there's huge improvement in the Blues. I just don't know if Queensland have enough improvement to be much better.
I understand what you mean, and I hope you're right. I really do, because I really don't want to see this go to game 3 in Brisbane again. Even though last year we had game 3 in Brisbane, and this year we got game 3 in Brisbane. It shouldn't happen 2 years in a row, but it's happening again.
How did that happen?
Oh, well, it's just,
we'll have to give Greenberg a call.
It's Melbourne.
Todd, we'll give you a call, mate.
Bloody Melbourne. They had a game in Darwin in the NRL this week.
Yeah, there's going to be one next year as well. Parramatta. Building a brand new stadium.
I don't mind that. Take other games down in Melbourne. Actually, they do, because we have a team in Melbourne. It was a big week. I can still feel the echoes of it. Now, Liam, I think it's time to open that sack of yours.
The sack's open, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it's a well-filled sack again this week. Thank you very kindly for your questions, Jousters. Now, Ryan Sipple puts us a doozy. Is Connor Watson's best position 6? It seems like he's a bit of a dead weight when it comes to kicking.
It seems like he doesn't want to try his kicking, and it seems like Jack Cogger got a lot of that short kicking game, and even some of the long pong sort of some of the long kicking as well. Obviously, if you're going to move him somewhere, I think he's too small for the centres. I think he'd be a waste on the wing, and wingers these days are much taller as well. Hooker or fullback's probably his other 2, but we're rich with hookers with Slade and Danny fighting it out for a starting spot there. I think the only option you'd see him out of that 5'8" role is if you'd move Brock Lamb back in with Cogger, without Pearce, obviously, and then you'd move Connor Watson to fullback, possibly if Pong was playing for Origin or was injured. That'd be the only place I'd move him to. I understand he runs it a lot, but I think if you get it with a bit more of a game organiser like Pearce, you see the fruits of his labour.
Well, that's it. He's shown with Cogger the last few weeks that his running game is phenomenal. It's really very, very good. That try scored against Parramatta. He was always asking questions against the Roosters, busting tackles. With a great halfback, he'd be the perfect 6. So I think Pearce Watson is a great combination. Cogger Watson is a very good one for now. Lamb and Watson will be a very good one for now. I think keep him at 6. He doesn't have that kicking game, but the ideal Newcastle lineup has him paired with a halfback who does have that kicking game. So that doesn't affect him quite so much. So I think once we've got our ideal lineup back, He'll be phenomenal. I think he stays at 6 because again, once we've got that ideal lineup back, he needs to be comfortable at 6.
Yeah.
And so all these games he's getting now, keep him.
We've had so much shift in and out of the halves with Ponga, Pearce, and Lamb just sort of swapping around. And even when we lost Watson as well. So Watson's been our only stayer since he's been back from, what was it? Shoulder
Dislocation.
Yeah, so from about around for the last 5 or 6 weeks, he's been our only stayer. Keep him there because that's the only way that your backline benefits. Not so much everyone on the inside, but to get good, solid backline movements, you need to understand your 5'8".
And that's it. I mean, a lot of people seem to be calling for more chopping and changing. That's not what Newcastle needs right now.
No.
While we've got all these injuries, you need to form a core. You need to keep the core. You need to develop some consistency. No chopping and changing. Let's not do that for a bit. Let's just not.
And if you look at the halves pairing of Kiri, who almost made Origin this year with the kind of form that he started the season with, and Cooper Cronk, arguably the next immortal. I'm not sure if they've been calling for him, but
no,
probably eventually.
No one has been.
Oh, okay, all right. I might have been stretching out. But, he's up there with... he's
pretty good.
He's top tier.
Yeah.
He's top tier halfbacks of the last 20 years.
Hall of Fame, probably.
Yeah.
Immortal now.
Okay, Hall of Fame. I've got to stop
still
throwing
very good.
Yeah, excellent. Anyway, so we had those two paired against Jack Cogger, who idolised Cooper Cronk growing up and has only had a handful of first-grade games, and Connor Watson, who is by not a game organiser, more of a ball runner, and it was 16-18. We matched it with him for 80 minutes, and I think we should be really proud of that.
Absolutely, as we are. Now, next question comes from Daniel Turner. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel asks, should Yates come in for Jamie Buhrer and another two-parter? Should we re-sign JB at the end of the year?
Great question. Thank you very much, Daniel. I was thinking about this when he got injured, because obviously he's off contract, and he would have had the rest of this season. He would think, I've got half a season to prove I've got another 2 years left in me, or because he's 30 this year, he might be 30 now. So look, he's a 30-year-old bloke that was playing off the bench, not in the best form. He's just blown out his knee. He's done it a couple of times before and bounced back, but it's like that little red light goes off in your wristband from that Logansrun movie when you're 30.
I've not seen it.
Okay, what
is it, a watch?
Oh, I think they just kill all the old people, something like that.
Oh.
It was Basil Exposition from Austin Powers.
Huh.
And I think it was 1976. Anyway, where did that go? Sorry, Daniel. It's
Have you seen it, Dan? You should watch it if you haven't.
Unless you're a freak like that can really change the way they play, like a very own Chris Ding, or like Cameron Smith, who just seems to be immortal.
He will be an immortal.
He will be an immortal, but he seems to be also just regenerative the way he doesn't get injured or seem like he's of that age. But unless you can really change the way you play, I just don't see value in signing him again, and that hurts me to say because I think he adds a lot. Then again, he might add a lot off the field, and they think we really want this guy around the side, and they give him another year. We definitely got a lot of room in the salary cap, but if we're thinking, what does he bring? What does he offer?
Well, that's my concern as well. Now, Jamie's been with us through some really tough times. He's been, a rock of the club through, what was it, just one spoon? He was only here for one?
He was our first signing when we were trying on the rebuild. He was our first, Buhrer. We had players like Elliot, what's his Brendan Elliott, and the very own Barney's back, but they were sort of off the radar. But because Buhrer had played Origin or was selected for that Origin side, they didn't get any minutes. One of the two.
I think he got 7 minutes.
7 minutes. Look, he played Origin. He's of that caliber at that point, and we're like, Buhrer's coming. Okay, it was notable, and he didn't have to do that. So that was, we got, if we want to repay him for that sort of, but then again, we were repaying old players for signing with us. That feels like the Knights of 2004.
That's it. It feels like a decision that we've made in the past and has backfired on us horribly. So, you know what? I hate to say this, but maybe might not be room for Jamie. But I think in the short term, yes, Daniel, I think Yates comes in for Buhrer, absolutely. He has shown what he can do, especially in defence. I think he can really lift a team off the bench. So, yeah, I think Yates in and Buhrer, I don't know. Yeah. End of the year, it's a toughie.
Maybe Sam Stone if he gets back off injury. Shoulder, I think he's got on the shoulder.
Shoulder, yeah, he's out for a few more weeks still, though.
We might see a bit more of him.
But perhaps. Now, Justin Guion, another two-parter. These are good questions.
Yeah,
good, in-depth questions. Now, Justin asks, What do you make of Corey Dennis's form in his first 2 games? And how was Origin night at Central?
Oh, well, Origin night at Central was fantastic.
Ludicrous, we're led to believe.
You'll see how much we enjoyed it from the footage that we show. It was a really fantastic night. However, the first part of the question I've forgotten.
Corey Dennis. What do we make of his form over his 2 games this year?
Look, he's played really well. He's been put in the centre position. He's obviously played a lot of centre with ISP, but it's obviously first grade is welcome to first grade. It's a different ball game entirely, with the same rules and the
same ball,
same
game.
It's the same game. It's a different game, but same game. But he's playing better than I'd expect him to play. But is he the best player on the field? No. That's.
I think I can sum it up very succinctly, Nagy.
Thank you.
Second word of the week is succinctly.
It's
succinctly.
Two-parter this week.
Two-parter.
Thank you for playing
solid but unspectacular, which I think for a player of his age and his experience level, that's to be expected. You don't expect him to be coming in on his second NRL game in a number of years and be completely tearing the place apart, being the best ever. What you expect is for him to come in, do his work, prove that he does deserve a spot in that side. I think so far he's done that. We highlighted that in the game against the Roosters, he made a few errors, but again, it was hard to give him the hats back on because he did play pretty well.
He played pretty well on a losing side.
Yeah.
And again, we win that game. Everyone played well. You know what I mean? He's just probably the most cracks. And you're gonna see it because he's a young guy. But I think give him a few more games. And Ross's injury apparently has no improvement. His groin, and groins can be funny ones. Well, funny groin, if you know what I mean. But
we'll have to give Rossi a call. We'll have a look at it.
Right, we'll just check it out, mate. I'm just getting the Vaso. You're breathing quite heavily, Liam. Are you okay?
No, think about Rossi's groin.
Okay, well, we better wrap it up there. Thank you very much, Jousters. If you like listening to the Joust, please find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the pipes, all the social pipes. Please, if you like any more information about what's going on at Origin at Central Bar for Game 2, please contact us. And also just keep an eye out for us, maybe somewhere you wouldn't expect.
Like the Commonwealth Hotel.
Oh yeah, we'll be there.
Although you would expect that.
You would expect to see us there.
It's a wonderful venue.
But if you're online poking around, you might see a couple of familiar faces. Just
keep an eye out.
Word of the web. Thank you very much for joining me again, Liam.
Always a pleasure, Nagy.
See you again next week. I do all night. Yeah.